If your brain feels foggy, distracted, or reactive most days, it might not be because you lack discipline. It might be because of what you do in the first 5 minutes after waking up. Most people don't realize this, but the first minutes of your morning quietly determine how your brain performs for the rest of the day. And if you change what happens in those minutes, you can dramatically change how clearly you think, how quickly you make decisions, and how focused you feel. Stay with me for a few minutes, and I'll show you something simple that high performers quietly protect every morning. A daily habit that takes less than 10 minutes. A habit that sharpens your thinking before the world has a chance to scatter it. And I'll walk you through a 5-step system you can start tomorrow morning. But first, let's talk about something almost nobody notices. Because once you see this, you can't unsee it. Most mornings begin the same way for millions of people. The alarm rings. Your hand reaches for the phone. Within seconds, you're looking at notifications, messages, news headlines, emails, maybe a quick scroll through social media. It feels harmless. But something important just happened inside your brain. Before your mind had a chance to wake up, it was already reacting to the world. And the moment your brain enters reaction mode, something powerful disappears. Clarity. Here's the truth most people never hear. You don't lose focus during the day. You lose it in the first minutes of the morning. That's the real problem. Because your brain wakes up in a unique mental state. Quiet, flexible, highly impressionable. Think of it like freshly fallen snow. The first tracks you leave in that snow shape everything that follows. Now imagine filling that fresh mental space with 20 notifications and 5 different conversations. Your brain immediately starts switching contexts. Problem, message, news, opinion, email, task. Each switch drains a little mental energy. And by the time you sit down to do something meaningful, your attention is already fragmented. This is why so many people say, I just can't focus anymore. But the problem isn't that your brain lost its ability to focus. The problem is that your brain never got the chance to activate it. Let me ask you something, honestly. When you wake up, do you control your mind? Or does your phone control it? Take a second and think about that. If the first thing you see every morning is a screen, you're not starting your day with clarity. You're starting your day with inputs. And inputs shape thinking, which leads to the big idea of this entire video. The first minutes of your morning decide the quality of your thinking for the entire day. Let that settle for a moment. Because once you understand that, everything changes. High performers don't necessarily wake up earlier than everyone else. They don't necessarily work more hours. But they protect something most people give away immediately, the first minutes of their mind. That's where the advantage begins. And there's a simple habit that helps create that advantage. I call it the C.L.E.A.R, mind habit, 5 small steps. But the impact compounds every day you practice it. Before I show you the steps, though, there's something important to understand. Because most people try to improve productivity the wrong way. They try to manage time. Time isn't the real issue. The real issue is mental energy. Most people are mentally exhausted before their most important work even begins. Not because they worked hard, but because their brains spent the morning reacting. Reacting is expensive. Thinking clearly is powerful. And the difference between the two often comes down to those first few minutes. So let's break down the habit. Step 1. C. Center your brain. When you wake up, your brain is transitioning from sleep mode into thinking mode. Most people rush through this moment. They jump straight into activity. But your brain benefits from a short reset. So the first step is simple. Sit up and do nothing for about 60 seconds. No phone, no inputs, no conversation. Just breathe. This isn't meditation. It's simply giving your brain a moment to stabilize. Think of it like warming up an engine before driving. That 1 minute signals to your nervous system that the day is starting calmly instead of chaotically. Already, you're different from most people. Because while the world is rushing, you're centering your mind. Step 2, L. List the 3 priorities that matter today. This step might be the most powerful one. Your brain performs best when it knows exactly what matters. But most people wake up with 20 things pulling their attention. Emails, deadlines, meetings, random tasks. Without clarity, your brain starts making hundreds of small decisions. That creates decision fatigue. So instead, write down 3 priorities. Just 3. Not 10. Not 15. 3 outcomes that would make today successful. This does something powerful. It removes uncertainty. Your brain now knows exactly what matters. And when the brain has clear targets, focus becomes easier. Step 3. E. Envision the outcome. This is something athletes have used for decades. Before competitions, many athletes mentally rehearse their performance. Your brain responds strongly to mental simulation. So take about 30 seconds. Picture yourself completing those 3 priorities. Imagine finishing the work. See yourself focused, calm, efficient. You're essentially giving your brain a blueprint for the day. And the brain likes blueprints. Without them, it is improvised. With them, it executes. Step 4. A. Activate the first move immediately. Momentum is everything. The biggest obstacle to productivity isn't difficulty, it's starting. So once you've identified your priorities, take one small action toward the first one. Open the document, write the first sentence, outline the idea, send the first message. Tiny movement breaks resistance. Once motion begins, energy follows. That's why the step is called activate. You're turning intention into action. Here's the final and the 5th step. R. Reject early distractions. For the first hour of your day, protect your focus like it's valuable. Because it is. No random scrolling, no unnecessary notifications, no jumping between tasks. Just focus on the priorities you defined. Most people let the internet decide what deserves their attention. But high performers reverse that relationship. They decide first, then they engage with the world. That single shift changes everything. Because instead of reacting, you're leading your day. Let's recap quickly. C. Center your brain. L. List 3 priorities. E. Envision the outcome. A. Activate the first move. R. Reject early distractions. That's the C.L.E.A.R. Mind habit, 5 steps, 10 minutes. But the impact compounds every single day. Now here's where it gets interesting. Most people assume successful people simply work harder. But if you study high-level performers closely, you notice something different. They protect their thinking time. They protect their attention. And in a distracted culture, attention is a massive advantage. Think about it. We live in an environment designed to capture your focus every few seconds. Apps, notifications, messages, algorithms. Your brain is constantly being pulled somewhere, which means the ability to sit down and think clearly for an hour has become extremely rare. And rare skills create advantages. Imagine 2 people starting their morning. One wakes up and immediately checks their phone. Notifications flood in, messages, emails, news headlines. Within minutes, their brains are jumping between topics. Now, imagine the second person. They wake up. Take one calm breath. Write 3 priorities. Visualize the outcome. Start the first task. No noise, no chaos, just clarity. By noon, those 2 people are living in completely different mental environments, same intelligence, same hours in the day, but completely different levels of focus. And focus multiplies results. Here's a thought most people don't like hearing. Distraction isn't just annoying, it's expensive. Every time your brain switches tasks, it burns mental energy. Some research suggests it can take several minutes to fully refocus after an interruption. Now multiply that by dozens of interruptions every day. Suddenly, you understand why the day feels exhausting. Not because of effort, but because of constant mental switching. The C.L.E.A.R. mind habit protects you from that cycle. It creates a buffer between your brain and the noise of the world. And that buffer allows your thinking to sharpen. Let me ask you a quick question. When was the last morning you had 10 quiet minutes to think before the world started demanding your attention? For many people, that almost never happens. And yet thinking clearly is one of the most valuable abilities you can develop. Clarity improves decisions. Better decisions improve results. Results shape your future, all from protecting a few minutes of your morning. Here's another important point. This habit isn't about perfection. Some mornings will be messy, some mornings you'll forget. That's normal. What matters is repetition. Because every time you run the C.L.E.A.R. habit, you're casting a vote for the kind of mind you want to build. A reactive mind, or a disciplined one. Identity forms through repetition. One small decision repeated daily becomes part of who you are, and eventually it becomes automatic. That's when the real advantage appears. Because while most people are still drifting through their mornings, your brain is already operating with clarity. So here's a challenge. For the next 30 days, start your morning with the C.L.E.A.R. mind habit. 10 minutes, no phone, no noise, just intentional thinking. Treat it like a mental experiment. Observe what happens to your focus, your productivity, your stress, your decision-making. And one more thing. If you know someone who constantly says they feel overwhelmed or distracted, send them this video. Because sometimes people don't need more motivation. They just need a simple system that protects their thinking. Let's finish with one final idea. In a distracted world, a clear mind becomes a competitive advantage, not just at work, in life. Because the people who think clearly tend to make better choices, and better choices compound over time. So tomorrow morning, before the noise of the world arrives, protect the first minutes of your mind. Run the C.L.E.A.R. mind habit and see what happens. Clear mind, strong day. Thank you for listening. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, my friends. Because the next video will be more powerful.